No. Hey, well, Matt reached out this morning and asked if I would share some of my takeaways from this conference I was at last week. I was at the Tom Ferry Teams Leadership Retreat. There was about 200-ish people there, which I had gone to his Success Summit in August, a few months ago, and there was like 8,000 people there. This one was so much smaller, and I loved this even more because you really got a lot more time to connect with people, have conversations with some really amazing team leaders all over the country, and it was pretty incredible. I was gonna make like a top 10 list to share this morning, and I started typing out my top 10, and I'm like, this is gonna take too long, so maybe I can get through five because it was just so much. Oh, he made it. He's here. It was just so much really great stuff. That a lot of it was stuff that maybe I'd heard a little bit, but I don't know, just hit me a little bit different. So I will run through these that I have so far, and I don't know, I might have to share more another day because there was so much. But probably the number one takeaway that I took from last week is that if you don't know your numbers, if you're not running your business by the numbers, you're going to eventually run out of business. Only 10% of agents run their business like a business, which is why most agents stay broke or just living that transaction to transaction life, like praying that the next one comes in because I got bills to pay. Agents spend without tracking, they pay themselves last, they overhire, or they overmarket without really tracking their ROI. So some questions that you need to know about your business is do you know your cost of sale? So that's going to be the money that you pay out before you get to touch the profits. So if you're a team leader, you have agent splits, or do you have broker fees? Do you have referral fees? Those are all part of your cost of sale. And you want that to be ideally, if for a solo agent, if you're running under 40%, that's excellent. A really lean team leader, you want it to be under 60, preferably under 50%. But if you're not tracking your numbers, you can't improve them. And that's the same with anything, right? If you're not tracking your activities, if you're not tracking the financials, I think a lot of people, they kind of hide behind the financials because we don't really want to look and see how it actually looks. But if you don't know these things, if you don't know your profitability percentage, you're not going to be able to improve and grow your business. And one of a really interesting line that somebody said, he said, if your business can't pay you what you want, fund your marketing, and save for taxes, it's not a business, it's just a job or a hobby. And I was like, ooh, is my business fitting all three of those things? Is it paying me, not just paying me, but paying me what I want, funding my marketing, and saving for taxes? So that's the first one. Know your numbers, track your numbers, so that way you can improve them. And then from there, my next biggest takeaway, what he was talking, they talked a lot about marketing this week, and not just like, oh, let's try this little Facebook ad and see how it goes, or make a cute logo. But the best agents and teams out there have a very clear, very mapped out plan and system for how they market everything, from their listings to their open houses to stories about their clients or their agents. Yes, their brand as well, but there's no guesswork. It's a very specific plan. Like every time I get a listing, I'm doing all of these videos this many days prior. I'm doing this walkthrough. I'm sending out an email blast. I'm calling all the neighbors. I'm doing mailers. Like it's a really clear system. There's no guesswork. All of that, there's a cost to all of that, but you should be setting aside, if you're treating your business like a business, you should be setting aside money from each closing specifically for marketing. Because if you want to make money, we have to spend money, and this is our business. It's not a hobby or a side gig. So do you have a really clear budget for marketing, and do you have a really clear plan? Like, Michelle, if I asked you, what is your marketing plan for open houses? Can you pull up a spreadsheet or Airtable or something and show everything leading up to it, all the things? I've figured you, of all people, probably do have that prepared. Um, but do you have that for every area of your business when it comes to your marketing? Um, or do you just have some guesswork? Even when it comes to social media, you're probably also the most systematized, Michelle. Do you have, what does that look like for you?
Now, I know that might surprise you. I'm not as systematized. That's on my list of things that I want to get accomplished, like my 2026 goals of is to get more systematized because right now it's very willy-nilly. Very much like I feel like posting this, so I'm just going to create this versus like having a strategy of and posting consistently. So if you look on my page, you'll see like sometimes I have like a ton of posts in one day, and sometimes I'll go a few days without posts. So yeah, that part, other than getting on in the morning and doing my happy birthdays to people and like
Mhm.
going through and responding to stuff, other than that, everything else is shooting from the hip.
That's how I've kind of always done it too. And then I was sitting in this room with all these people like, well, here, let me tell you my system and how I do this and how I do that. And I was like, shoot, I'm way behind and definitely had a lot of moments where I was like, why am I here? But then through conversations, I was like, no, I belong here. I have things that I can contribute as well. I will say that was probably that didn't come from the conference, but that was probably one of my biggest takeaways is the first it was a 2 day thing, and probably well into the first day, I dealt very strongly with that whole imposter syndrome. Like, I don't belong in this room. Like, listening to the people that are there, talking to these agents that are at my table, I'm like, what, how did I end up here? Because no. And then I realized when we would have table discussions, I actually had things to contribute. And people started asking me questions and like, hey, can we connect? Like, I want to keep in touch. Can we talk about this more after we all get home? And I'm like, oh, I do actually belong in this room and had, shed a few tears. And it was that was probably my biggest, most powerful takeaway for me personally was why do we minimize ourselves so much? Like we belong in these rooms because we all have learned so much and experienced so much, even from this call. Like how much from this call can I take away and share with other people? That it makes me teary all over again. So I'm going to get back to the technical things so I don't get super teary. Um, but that was pretty awesome. Um, Speaking of social media, Matt mentioned last week and then, or maybe the week prior, that you need, or he posed the question, like, what does it look like to 10x your content? And I thought it was very interesting that that was literally the one of the biggest things, first thing on day one was you need to 10x your content. You need to create an omnipresence across all platforms. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. They said you should bury the market in your content until people say they see you everywhere. And I know for some people, it's like, okay, if I 10x my content, maybe that means I'm actually doing one post a day and one story a day. That's not enough. Only about 10% of the people that follow you or the people that you're friends with on Facebook, actually, the algorithm shows your posts, your content to about 10% of the people that you're connected to. So if you're only posting one time a day, um, you're not burying the market in your content at all. The recommendation they said for LinkedIn was 5 times per day, and they said to carry that over to Instagram and Facebook. My initial, like, y'all know, I've been very open on this call about my struggles with social media consistency, but I was like, 10 times a day, people are going to start like unfollowing me and unfriending me. And that's when they went back to no, they're not, because only 10% of the people are seeing your stuff anyways. So they're not going to unfriend you because not everyone is seeing all of those things. You have to get more out there. Um, 1.2 million users a month search how to sell a house on YouTube. So if you're not answering these questions for people on YouTube, you're missing out in a massive way. Um, a really good system to help create that omnipresence across all forms is you should be creating one long form video a week for YouTube. And they said the sweet spot is 15 to 20 minutes because of the increments that ads pop in and start to run. So you want to have one long form video a week that you can then put into something like, shoot, what is the app that we use to break up the videos?
Opus Clip.
Opus Clips, thank you. that can chop that one long form video into 30 other smaller pieces of content that can go out across all other platforms. So you take this one long video, chop it up, spit it out everywhere, and that's how you're gonna, in my paraphrased way, you're going to create this omnipresence where you're showing up 5 times a day on every platform. But it's working smarter, not harder, right? It's using this one long video to create all of the posts. Now, with that is my next number three. You have to become a blog writer. I know back in like early 2000s, everybody had the family blog, right? Here's my family update for January. And we would follow each other's friends and or follow each of our friends and read all of their things. And it's how we kept in touch. Well, that went away for a little bit when social media really exploded, but now that is coming back in a massive way. Thanks to AI, because AI searches static content. We've talked about this a little bit on here as well. And blogs, so it's not going to search, AI is not going to search like comments on a Facebook page or like your reviews as of right now. It's not going to search Google reviews, things like that, but it is going to search for static content like a blog. So you should be writing a lot of blogs. One recommended 300 to 400 a year. So that's almost a blog a day. Now, if that sounds like crazy and overwhelming, AI is ridiculous. The things that you can do, not just with, well, yes, with ChatGPT, but there are so many tools out there that can help you become this blog writer that sounds like you, that doesn't sound like AI, that doesn't have the M dashes and all the emojis everywhere that scream ChatGPT whenever you read it. So you can personalize your chat, ask it to help you come up with a list of questions like that, how to sell a house on YouTube, and start writing blogs that answer the questions of that people are asking on YouTube, on Ask the People, on all the Google, on chat. What are the questions people are asking? And start writing blogs to answer that. Make it 2,500 words or less. And then ask chat to also make sure that 75% of the words are keyword optimized. So then you can take that blog and you can turn that into your long form YouTube video. You can also turn that video into a YouTube podcast, just like we have done with the CTC calls. Then you can take that and you can turn it into a newsletter. You can turn it into all of the other content just from one thing. So very much, again, working smarter and not harder and using this one big idea to just blast out everywhere, creating that Michelle has talked about that evergreen content, right? That never goes away, that's always floating around out there. So when people are asking how to sell a house or how do I buy a house in Kansas or Iowa, you want to be the first one that pops up. Is anybody doing a blog right now or using AI for at that level for writing, for social media, for all of that? Not yet. Ramil?
Yeah, in a way, like I'll use it for not for blogging, but like the videos I do, um, posts and things like that. I definitely use it as far as like topics, or if I want to, um, like most recently I've used it as like trying to like if I wanted to like if I had an emotion like I wanted to invoke, like I'll ask ChatGPT to like give me, topics or examples of um like those emotions that I can then, work with.
Nice. I think, and one of my other biggest takeaways was how far behind I feel with AI and all of the things out there that we can leverage it to do for us in our businesses. Um, there's a team who is using AI to create they automate accountability and agent tracking for themselves as they're in their individual business, but then also for the team. They have used AI to build like reports that they get every single Monday that shows whole team ranking, how the teams rank against each other. Um, weekly performance, mentorship reports. Like if you have a mentorship program in your team or in coaching, like is every agent stacking up to the required things that y'all are working on? Every single bit of it, they create it once and now it's just automatic. Um, that it, I think another around the whole topic of AI, I use chat or I have been using it a lot like Google, right? Well, tell me the best this or how do I do that? Instead of really using it as a tool that can save us a lot of time. Um, a if there's ever this team leader out of Virginia, he said if there's ever a task that notice that I'm doing multiple times, I'm going to stop doing that and I'm going to figure out a way to automate it because there are enough tools out there with all the different AI platforms and programs that he said if I have to do it more than twice, it should be automated. It's not something that I need to keep on doing. I need to figure out a way to automate this. So, what are some things that you're doing that you're like, I just find myself doing these same things over and over that whether it's as a team leader or solo agent that you can use AI to automate for you. Um, and I'll put his list of everything together. If you want like all of my notes, I have them typed up. I just haven't inserted the pictures into all of them yet. But if you want all of them, shoot me an email or a text and I'll get those sent out to everybody this week because I have like a lot of notes and a lot of pictures. Um, Let me go back really quick to my notes for today. Talked about marketing, becoming a blog writer, social media, 10xing your content, tracking your numbers. Those are really, even scanning through my other notes, those are probably the things that were the biggest takeaways for me as far as things that I know that I need to be doing and things I know I need to be implementing, both as an individual agent, for coaching, for a team lead. Those are all things. I mean, I know that I have to 10x my content, but then I start thinking about the time that it goes into that, right? And they're like, well, hey, here's how to do it a lot faster. Ask ChatGPT what people are asking. Now get on YouTube and answer those questions. Now break that down and spit it out everywhere, but use AI to do that for you so that way you're not spending so much time. And then also back on the marketing topic, there's so many things that I'm like, ooh, this would be fun. I want to do this or I want to do that. And maybe I enjoy it, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm the best at it, right? Done, how often have we said done is better than perfect? And so find someone in for marketing, find someone to like an AI person for you, find a social media person for you that can take those things and handle them for you. So you're not spending all of your time on that. When, yes, maybe you enjoy it, but also your time could probably be best used somewhere else. Leverage those things. There's people out there that do this all day, every day. Make that part of your marketing budget and find the people that can fill in those gaps for you.
Yeah.
Um, oh yes, Josh, I will send your notes. Let me see. Okay. Um, oh, perfect. Okay. Um, what else? Sorry, I didn't get all of them written out this morning because I got excited about the marketing and the AI. Um, is
I,
anybody doing, oh, go ahead.
can I steal a page from Ramil's book from
Yeah.
my little review? So, what are you planning to do to keep the motivation and actually implement the things that you learned?
So right when we got back Thursday evening. On Friday morning, we have our leadership meetings here. So we met and listed out our top 5 things that we are going to focus on for this next year. And we are breaking down like action items under each one of them, who is responsible for it, like set out very clear responsibilities, like you're responsible for this, you do this, and then figuring out where we ended. We're going to continue this conversation here in a little bit, but was where do we need people that can step in and fill in some of these things? Because Amy and I both, for example, love the marketing side, but we know that that's not really where our best use of time is. So we know that having a marketing person is huge for us. Um, We literally first thing Friday morning got really clear on our numbers, knowing what our cost of sale is, knowing what our profitability is. So that way we know, okay, what do we have to even work with when it comes to bringing in another person and finding a marketing person, finding an AI person. Maybe that's all the same. We couldn't really make those decisions without getting really clear on our numbers and knowing what we even had to work with. So we've got that part figured out. And instead of our weekly Friday leadership meeting, we decided to meet twice a week. So that way we know at the beginning of the week, here's what our focus is. And we know the very clear things that we're all reporting on each week that we're working on. So we knew that we had to just start immediately. Um, Otherwise it would just sit and the weekend would get here and we would rest and relax and watch football and lose that momentum, right? So we got in Thursday night and Friday morning we had our meeting and just got going on it. So how many times have we talked here about like just do it, just take action, like don't sit around and wait. So that's what we have decided is like we just have to do it because we don't want to lose that.
You you talked a little bit too. Um, I feel like we're just sisters. We've talked about this so many times. Like we're just related somehow. About walking into that with like some imposter syndrome and
Mhm.
feeling like you don't belong in that room. So what shifted from the beginning when you walked in there and you were like, I feel like I want to throw up to wait a minute, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, so when I first got there, I was just excited. I was like, this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna learn some things. And then I started hearing the stories of the people that I was sitting with, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And that happened really quick because it's a smaller group. I mean, I know 200 doesn't sound that small, but we're all at tables of eight. And um, I was like, man, these people are doing some really, really big things. And that set in pretty quick. But then once, because of the way that we were set up, we were able to have those conversations. And I found myself contributing to the conversation and not being scared to if somebody asked about the topic that helped was around growth and recruiting, and someone had a question like, "This is my biggest struggle," and I just don't even know where to start. And fortunately, I've done a little bit of it, and I've been around people who are doing a lot of it. I've been in a lot of coaching conversations, and I was like, "Oh, I can actually here's some things that have worked for me. Here's some things that I'm doing and implementing." And that people started then asking me questions. And I was like, wait a second, people are asking me questions and I'm answering them. But then at the same time in my head, I'm like, why are they asking me? That having both things going on. Um, and I just realized, wait, just because my business doesn't look like theirs doesn't mean I don't have value. Not all of us are going to look exactly the same as the next person. Otherwise, it'd be super boring, right? If all of us were doing all the same things in all the same way. Um, and once I reminded myself of that, like I knew that, but once I really reminded myself, it got really fun. I still was blown away at times by the people that I was getting to have these conversations with, but also like, oh, I actually have some things that I can share and help people with as well. Um, but it was just having to remind myself of that it's okay that my business doesn't look like this person who's like 15 years younger than me and selling, it just sold a $38 million condo, a $38 million. I did the math on it while I was sitting there. It was like, not bad, not bad. Um, and that's his normal thing. Like that's just everyday life, and that's what his team does. He doesn't know how to write an actual contract. He's got people that does all the things for him, and I'm just like, I'm not there. Like I write my own contracts. Um, but even, I mean, he also said too, though, that his struggle is in growth and recruiting. So, oh, that's a good idea, Audra. Like, tell me more about that. And I was like, wait a second, this guy's asking me how I'm doing this. That was big. And then just me reminding myself that just because he's got it figured out in one area doesn't mean he does in every area, and we can all help each other.
We're all just humans behind the at the core of it, aren't we?
Yeah. And we all have different strengths, and we all have something that we can learn from every single person on this call. In every room that we walk in, there's somebody that can learn something from each of us. So, yeah, that was my biggest takeaway. Let me see. I'm scrolling through all my notes. Those were really my biggest. I'll make sure I get all the pictures of all the slides and everything put into it. But um, yeah, go into rooms and just remind yourself that somebody has something to learn from you too.
My question for you, I don't know if you can hear me well or not. Sorry, someone microphone. Um, what was like your biggest awareness around okay, so you're in the room with some of the biggest and highest performing teams and agents in the country, period. And it's a non-denominational, total, just like all brands represented training from, one of the top training companies out there. If you had a chance to just kind of like see the thread of the convo, like what was the overriding message and any like ahas or awarenesses around that? I'm just curious.
I think the something that literally every speaker, they had a lot of different team leaders speaking. It wasn't just Tom. So a lot of different people. I mean, probably, I don't know, probably 20 different speakers. Um, the something that everybody, like every single person talked about was your numbers and AI and not being afraid of it and leaning into it. And also that our industry as a whole is shifting, is changing. We've seen it even locally. We've seen it across the board. If you look at social media every day, there is some new brokerage moving somewhere else or getting bought out, or um, that was probably a really big thing that people talked about a lot was that strength in numbers, I guess, like the smaller ones are hurting. And I mean, that was actually a really big topic is the smaller brokerages, teams moving to you've said this before, and I can't remember exactly how the verbiage of it, but a bit consolidation basically is you're seeing a lot of that. But even like taking that side out, AI is probably the biggest thing that we're not utilizing at the level we should be. And really knowing your numbers and making sure that you're treating your business like a business so you can be profitable. Everybody talked about those things. You have another question. You have the face.
Well, no, I just, I don't want to like,
No, you're good.
I don't want to lead the convo. And also, I know we're right at time. I wanted to see if anybody else had any questions for you. I know we're at time to jump.
Or I'll get those notes, finish putting them together, and I can send them out to anybody this week.
The one question that I have is, did you feel like any of the content or the messaging was so special and elevated and secret? Like you're like, ooh, can't believe I got in the secret. Or was it like, we talk about this stuff all the time?
There was a lot that we talk about all the time. I think the difference is hearing from people that it's not, we're just that are actually putting it all into action.
Mhm.
And it's not just the things that we're talking about, but it's like, hey, I'm actually doing it, and here's the results that I'm getting from it. Um, there wasn't anything really like any that I felt like I was getting any secret info. I mean, Tom Ferry has his different predictions and things that he says where he makes us turn off cameras and not record things, but that wasn't anything like that was just his own, my bold predictions for the year kind of thing. But as far as the actual things that you can implement into your business, it was not anything that we have not already talked about on this call that we talk about every week. It's just people actually doing it was the big thing.
Thanks for sharing all of it. Super good stuff.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I'm still a little tired, but it was worth it. So, all right.
Awesome.
Sorry, I talked so long. It's
Why are you,
9:33.
why are you apologizing?
Um, well, I just want to be respectful of everybody's time. So,
All right. Well, if no
right.
one has any other questions, I mean, you can always, everyone knows how to reach Audra. If you have
Oh yeah.
questions, reach Audra. Otherwise, we'll see you Wednesday.
Yep. See y'all then. Bye.